Mark, TJ Maxx, the latest chain here to be targeted by those brazen thieves, dropping hangers as they make off with their illegal haul. This viral video of another brazen heist is the latest in a growing rash.
It's pretty scary.
In most cases, employees and customers simply watch in disbelief.
The perception of lawlessness, the perception that anything goes, really, that has to be overcome too.
Target stores in San Francisco are limiting their hours, and the company says the move is in response to an increase in theft.
It's happened again. 4 women run off after stealing from a CVS pharmacy at Van Ness and Jackson in San Francisco.
Union Square, many people are talking about this video. I mean, how could you not? Look at these 10 people running out of Neiman Marcus stores with handbags.
All right, another brazen theft at a San Francisco drugstore caught on video.
It's the latest grab-and-go crime in San Francisco that's forced many drugstores in the city to close.
All right, guys. So as you can see there, California has some real issues to deal with, right? And the dictator in chief in California, Gavin Newsom, believes that there's more pressing issues than crime and theft and homelessness and lack of water and droughts and, you know, all the problems that California deals with, right? Those are not the real issues, right? The real issues is gender toy owls, right? That's the real issue. Okay, as California has mandated gender neutral toy owls for large retailers to correct this pressing problem, right? That's resulting in people, you know, losing their lives, not being able to drink clean water, you know, being on the streets, not being able to get jobs. Okay, this right here, this issue right here is what we actually need to be worried about. Bro, yeah, I try to tell y'all, man. Elon, your first rocket to Mars. I'm in there, right? I'm in there. I'm going and we starting over, right? We're going to rebuild society. We're going to learn from our mistakes. But let's read here about this new law that dictator Newsom has implemented in California. Which, again, you know, I've been making this argument lately about how I'm to the point now where I just want red states to be red states and blue states to be blue states. And I kind of feel the same way about this. But that doesn't mean I can't talk about it, right? You know, hey, at the end of the day, this is who they voted for. So it is what it is. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed into law Saturday a bill requiring large retailers to provide gender neutral toy sections per the Los Angeles Times. Why it matters? California is the first state to adopt such a law. LGBTQ advocates have pointed out that marketing methods using pink and blue hues pressure children to conform to gender stereotypes, AP notes. The Consumer Federation of California supported the law, saying keeping similar items that are traditionally marketed either for girls or boys separated makes it more difficult for the consumer to compare products and incorrectly implies that their use by one gender is inappropriate, the Sacramento Bee reports. First of all, why? Right? Why is this even a thing? But also on top of that, like, isn't that up to the parents, right? Isn't that up to the parent to decide what toys they want their children to play with, right? It's not like children are going in there buying the toys themselves, okay? The parents are the ones that are buying it. So if parents want to buy a G.I. Joe doll or soldier action figure, whatever you call it, if they want to buy that for their boy or girl to play with, that's up to them, right? But I don't see why is it that you have to mandate gender neutral aisles, okay? To me, that seems like quite a bit of government overreach. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But even if you make aisles gender neutral, that's not going to change the behavior of parents. It's not like parents all of a sudden are going to be like, oh, well, you know, now the aisles are gender neutral, I might start buying Barbie dolls for my son. No, they're not going to do that. They're still going to buy certain toys for boys, right? But maybe it's about the psychological aspect of having boys and girls wander through the aisles. Maybe that's it. Okay, and I have a wild kind of thought about where all this eventually leads to in the far future that I'm going to get to in a few minutes just because this is some insane stuff. But the bill, which will take effect in 2024, overcame opposition from Republicans and conservative groups who said it was government overreach. I believe this is government overreach. I mean, these are the same people who want to complain about, you know, Texas or red states, Florida, that ban critical race theory in schools, right? They want to say, well, that's government overreach. right? Or when they say, hey, schools can't have mask mandates. Oh, that's government overreach. Or they ban mandates or vaccine passports for businesses. Oh, that's government overreach. Well, I mean, listen, if y'all want to make the government overreach argument, that's fine. But obviously, Democrats are willing to overreach for things that they believe in. So, I mean, at some point, a conservative's just going to lay around and just let the Democrats just overreach, right? And mandate things for the private sector, and Republicans are just going to roll over. I'm not sure if that's necessarily a good strategy at this point, right? But again, in my ideal world, both sides wouldn't be doing any of that, right? But you also wouldn't have private businesses issuing mandates, okay? But hey, I can't necessarily live in my ideal world. The law states that retail stores with 500 or more workers must sell toys and childcare products, excluding clothes, in a gender-neutral section that is labeled at the discretion of the retailer, regardless of whether they have been traditionally marketed for either girls or boys. Retailers can continue to offer toys and childcare goods that are traditionally marketed specifically towards girls or boys. Companies that fail to comply with the new law could face civil penalty of $250 for a first violation and $500 for any subsequent violations. The Democratic Assemblyman Evan Lowe, who introduced the legislation, said we need to stop stigmatizing what's acceptable for certain genders and just let kids be kids per AP. All right, you're not letting kids be kids when you do stuff like this, right? You're trying to push your woke agenda on them, right? Letting kids be kids means just keeping things the way that it actually is, right? Letting kids be kids means not having sexualized education in school. That's letting kids be kids, right? My hope is this bill encourages more businesses across California and the U.S. to avoid reinforcing harmful and outdated stereotypes. Low added. Retailers have, in recent years, been moving away from gender stereotypes, notably Target, which announced in 2015 it would stop using some gender-based signs in its stores. Okay, so I have a weird, very high thought, right? And I promise you, I'm not high. But I just thought about this, and I'm like, maybe it's meant to be. Maybe this is just how it's meant to be. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar with UFO sightings and alien sightings, right? Like people that describe these beings, whom some people argue could be humans from the future, right? And they describe them as humanoid, big heads, but no recognizable genitalia, right? Almost like they're gender neutral. And again, some people say these are humans from the future, right? So I'm sitting thinking, I'm like, maybe this is just inevitable, right? Maybe this gender neutral push is just what it's meant to be, right? This push to make it so the binary sexes are no longer a thing, right? Male and female is no longer a thing, right? I mean, I'm just saying that's a very out there thought, but it's just one of those things I was just thinking about when I was reading this. I'm like, who knows, man? Who knows at this point? Why is this being pushed so heavily? I don't understand. There's just so much effort going into trying to make all of society conform to literally 1% of society. And don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not for any type of discrimination against, LGBTQ people. But I just think that, what is the point of making ours gender neutral for kids who are just kids? Okay, they shouldn't even be thinking about this stuff in the first place, right? So, I mean, again, to me, I just find this to be some crazy stuff. They also have Superman. The new Superman has come out as bisexual. Okay? Again, it's crazy how this stuff seems to be targeted towards children for whatever reason, right? They say, let kids be kids. But Superman needs to be bisexual. So there's a little bit more about this. It's a brand new day for the Man of Steel, continuing a recent trend of comic book characters coming out as LGBTQ. Superman is now confirmed to be bisexual and on the fight for global social issues, according to the DC team behind the character who spoke to IGN. This news is not for the traditional iteration of Clark Kent, but instead his 17-year-old son, John, who has taken up his father's mantle. Quote, it is a big deal doing it with John Kent as Superman. I hope this kind of thing will not be seen as a big deal in the future. Artist John Timms told IGN. It will be interesting to see him not only try to find himself as a person, but a global superhero in the complex atmosphere of modern life. That modern life, one where John has entered into a relationship with young hacktivist reporter Jay Nakamura and Superman, son of Kal-El, will also be addressing the world's societal problems along with intergalactic threats, according to writer Tom Taylor. Quote, the question for John and for our creative team is, what should a new Superman fight for today? Can a 17-year-old Superman battle giant robots while ignoring the climate crisis? Of course not. Can someone with super sight and super hearing ignore injustice beyond its borders? Can he ignore the plight of asylum seekers? That desire to do good for the Earth's everyday needs is a trait not for Clark Kent, but instead one from John's mother, the Daily Planet Louise Lane Taylor said. John is the son of the fiercest, most effective journalist on the planet. With that comes a strong sense of right and wrong, an instinctive dislike of corruption, and a strong desire for the truth to win over misinformation. Oh my God, this sounds like liberal indoctrination. This sounds like somebody at CNN wrote this, right? Does this not sound like something that somebody at CNN wrote? Maybe they modeled Superman's son after Don Lemon, right? I'm surprised they didn't make him black. For Taylor, who said many of his previous LGBTQ storylines were rejected, moving forward with progressive adaptation of Superman was a major turning point for the comic. Quote, I knew replacing Clark with another straight white savior could be a real opportunity missed. I've always said everyone needs superheroes and everyone deserves to see themselves in their heroes. Listen, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I wish they would just make up completely different, like, unique characters for those things, right? Listen, I don't really care about LGBTQ superheroes and stuff like that. I get it, man. I understand. But make it something completely original, right? Make it something new. Okay, like, you know, for example, I thought one of the more creative superheroes that they put out there that was original was Hancock, right? The superhero that Will Smith played, right? Like the drunk, like, bum. That's a superhero that has like Superman type powers, right? And he was black. And the thing is that, like, when you make it so original like that, nobody's thinking about the dude's race, right? The character in and of itself becomes an original that, again, you kind of take the whole racial aspect out of it. People are not like, okay, well, why is the new Captain America black? Right? You know what I'm saying? Or why is the new Superman LGBTQ? I just wish that they could just stick with original characters. It just seems less pushy. It seems less cringe. The way this thing is being marketed it's just cringe at this point, right? It seems like, again, you're just overtly trying to push this, okay? Instead of just making up something brand new. Today, Superman, the strongest superhero on the planet, is coming out. Kent now joins the likes of Batman's iconic sidekick, Robin, and nemesis Harley Quinn as another LGBTQ character in the DC Universe. In the Marvel Comics, the X-Men confirmed last year that Kate Pride is bisexual and also teased a throuple situation between Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey. Boy, these comic books get kind of raunchy, okay? They get kind of raunchy. So, yeah, man, you guys see what's going on here. Even a blind man can see what is going on here. So, let me know what you guys think about this. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.